Hello and welcome back to the Motor House. What you are looking at is the underside, the rear differential area of our '76 Lotus Elite. And yeah, well, you gotta do one thing and then you find something else needs done. So just this is about what I'm gonna have to get into. This all started with let's go over with an alignment. I needed to change the toe for the trailing arm mounts. And basically it's taking a shim washer out on each side to get the toe. But in doing so, let's see if I get a close-up of this. What do I see? Oh, the fluid gouge. The fluid, if you see it. Let's see if I can do this without right here. See the fluid? The brake cylinder is leaking on the left. So that means rebuild time or replacement time. So let's give a quick overview of that. The cylinders are very difficult to get to because inboard brakes and everything's tucked up into the chassis. So, and there is a carrier here for the rear diff, which has to come down. It's called how far does it have to come down. So in order to do this, I did this in 2022. And I think maybe as many times as I've honed the cylinders, they're saying, we give up, you need to re-sleeve us. So what I did do is I did happen to find two original new old stock 7/8 bore cylinders for the back. There's a few of them still out there. People are going to the smaller bore, 3/4, or possibly even 5/8 if they have to, because that's what's easily available. So I'm going to put a new seal kit in the ones that I got, and then that will go on the car. Now, looking at my notes, because it's great, you do your work on the cars, make notes. And you can always go back in your log and realize what has to be done. So, basically, take the tire out. Take the spare tire out. Take the carrier off. Gives you a lot of access up in here. Disconnect all the lines, the half shafts. Support the car with the jacking bridge on the body up there. And then I have another bridge that I could add in and set in and put plywood on it. Actually, I have two of them. I just don't remember if I did one or two before. But then I use my smallest floor jack and I'm able to support, able to support the differential and lower this down just enough to get to the tops. Let's say just to get to the top cylinders. And you don't have to take it to the floor, you just lower it down enough. And I also put a steady rest. I told myself I put a steady rest under the front, which helps get all the work done back here. Then you can change out the cylinders, do what you have to do, and then slide it back up in. So it only has to come down enough to get access. And while I'm there, I'm going to put the add-on brace across the back here. I picked up one of them too from SJ. And we'll get the work done. So yes, it's involved to get this done, but if you've never done the Elite, this gives you kind of an overview of what has to happen. And this is just kind of before I get started, tells you where I'm going. The next step in getting these things done is really to get the car up and get supported. And I guess I see some lines. That's got to be the LEDs doing that on the screen. If you've seen the lights kind of go flicky, oh, that's got to be the LEDs doing it. Sorry if it's coming through, but I see it on the screen here. So, okay, getting back to it. The center bridge, I use the center bridge to, we'll say, just to give some basic support. This is not holding the car up. The center bridge is not holding the car up. What it is a safety in case the main places I have the car supported on fail. So right now it's just, if anything was to happen, the center bridge kind of takes the just in case. We'll put it that way. So I'll go around here, and how the car is actually being held. If you see these blocks and the pads up on top, they're anti-vibration pads that I use in equipment when I was working, and they do very well for conforming to odd areas and allowing the very good support. So these I guess rubber blocks, very hard rubber blocks, they came with the center bridges to be used. So they're for lifting cars. That's what they're rated to do. So I have them set up. We'll do on this side too. Set up on both sides. Get a very good shot there. And that's actually supporting the body in the car. And the center bridge is basically, in case they squish down too much, it's picking up, a what if kind of thing. And that's so I can get up in here and get the washers off, and it's a little safer for me. I definitely want to be safer. Now, I would suggest that, if you see the half shafts are off, see the, I've already spun it a little bit, but that blue mark you see, I would mark everything when you're putting it back together. Wait, taking it apart first. It's nice alignment back up in the same place before it came off. Do some marks. In taking I have to take half shafts off to drop the diff, but it does give a lot more room and a lot more movement to get the front washers off to get the toe done. So, and I am going to replace the rubber mounts up there on the trailing arms. And for anyone who has never really seen it, if you were interested in getting one of these Elites and thinking about the subject of the rusted bridge in between the towers on the rear, you might see it up in there now. That is the bridge. And if you're wondering what rusts on some of these cars, it is up there. It is that area, and you should be able to inspect that fairly easily with the tire off, to look up in there and tap around on it and see what condition it's in. And if we go to the back, I get around here, there is the rest of the bridge, and you'll see the insulation, that the matting that's on top. Everything does have a coat of rust-resistant paint on everything, so I did that a long time ago. I will be adding the brace from here. You'll see I have a few issues. That all came from previous owner, the original owner of the car, whoever he had working on it. So the brace, now that I'm getting back to doing this area, I'll get the brace. You will notice that I have the fuel line here, and that's where the negative terminal of the battery connects. And you can get a lot of access when you drop the spare tire and take the carrier off. You do get a lot of area to work, and you can work up on top there. So let's see if I can give a few more pointers to stuff I do here. It's not the first time I've had this out. Okay, let's see. All right, disconnecting the, I gotta turn the light on this thing. All right, disconnecting the handbrake cable. Let's see if it can. All right. So what I did is I used long pins and just clips. The pin's not going anywhere. The clip, it's the emergency brake. Long as the pin can't come out, it's not going anywhere. The longer pin helps you get your fingers in above and put it down into position. And if you take a pair of long needle nose, you can put the pin in or you can take the pin out. So I do that on, let's say, both sides. And I have found that that is the easiest way to get them reconnected, or later on, if you have to, take them, disconnect them. The short pins they came with are too much trouble. You have plenty of room up there. Get a long pin. It's actually a tractor part. I got them in a tractor store, so worked out real well. Yep, disconnecting the hard brake lines from the flex tubes are a problem on both sides. You'll see some grease, but that's because I greased the U-joint in that connection, and it slings excess grease out. So, okay, hey, it's getting grease. That's the important thing. That's about, I think it's a few things to get up right here. Let's see. Okay. Oh, brake come back out a little bit. And you might notice the spring here. I have found that a spring works better, a heavy spring, instead of rubber donuts, and it lasts so much longer. It really does. So, yeah, it's not the most beautiful underside of a Lotus, but think of the age of the car and the mileage, and it does go down the road. It does do well. Well, I got the trailing arm to come off of the mounting bolt there, but you probably can see that. Let's see, hopefully it picks it up. It was kind of seized on the bolt, rusted to it. So that was kind of difficult to get to pry off, but I did hit it. Put the nut back on it, hit it with a hammer to shock it, and then there's not a lot of room up in here to pry that off. But I'm also going to change out the bushing while I'm here. So this is the one side done. I got the first trailing arm mount out, and yeah, that plate is got some rust on it, and I do have time, so I think I will, when I dismantle this, toss it in the sandblast cabinet, including with the other one, when I get it off, and then I'll give it a couple coats of paint before I put it all back together. And you probably can see on the shaft there where things were kind of frozen. Getting the washers to come off was no fun either. But, okay, let's look up to where it came out of. I put the light on so it helps. Now, the front bolt is the most trouble. The one to the left that you're seeing, because let's see if I can get a better shot in here. It takes changing the hands around, sorry. Because of the angle of the body here, it's very difficult to get back in there. It's kind of buried. So kind of, if you look here with the body line, it's buried up in there. 1/2 inch wrench and small turns. That's flip it over, small turns. Flip it over, small turns. That's all you can do. You do not have a lot of room to work it. That's my advice in this respect. So probably will clean that area up and give it a coat of paint too, just underneath, so saves it. If you break that front bolt, you're going to have to raise the body in order to get to it. That's my advice, if it happens. I have done these before, but the body was off. Yeah, I did it during restorations, and the body was off. So we'll go back over on this side and see if you can see how well that bolt is hidden back up in there. And it is difficult to get. Sorry if not focusing well. See if we get the focus better. But it's up in there. So that's where I'm at the moment. And we will continue. I'm now working on the right side of the mounting bushes. And let's see if I can see if this shows up. I gotta get out of this, make the shadow. Look at that. Does that not make lots of changes to things? Oh. So this is, let's see, get my hand up in here and point correctly. The plate itself, the reinforcing plate, has been bent in a U, and so it's probably not tightened up well, and it's allowed a lot of that. So another reason to get that off. And if you're wondering, when you got to, let's see, where's the tool? Where's the tool? I put the tool here somewhere. I set it down. Where did I put that tool at? I was going to show you what I used. Okay. So this is basically just a pry tool. Gets up in there in between the washer and the end of the arm and helps to pull it out. It's about the best thing I could find, and you don't want too long of a one and you don't want too short of a one. So that's my suggestion for getting the arm off. And I just tuck the arm right below the chassis, and it sits out of the way, if as much out of the way as it can get. So, all right, I'm continuing on. Well, I've taken the left side off, and surprise, surprise, might notice the ears. Oh, wait a minute. There they are. There are the two ears that are broken off of the bushing mount. You see another nice crack there. And you'll see the warpage. Big warpage in that. No wonder everything was loose. It was broken. Yeah. So, big decisions, big decisions, big decisions. Big decisions. I can probably straighten that back out without a problem. And I'm getting a new mount. I'm glad I've decided to do that. But, so here's the, we'll call it the 5-hour question, because it's probably what it would take to mess with me. So I'd say it's a 2-hour question, because it's not a money, it's a time issue. With this being loose and broken, and more than likely affecting the toe measurements of the back, do I still take the washer away? Because it's a pain in the, it's a pain in the, to get in there. Of course, once you've taken it apart, you put it all back together, it's probably a lot easier to get apart again, but I can tell you that's still no fun. Do I take the washer away when I put it back together, or leave the washers alone? Big decision here. Being broken, it would suck it in, because that would have it out, and I could suck it in more. Lots of decisions to make here. I checked with the very local supplier, RD Enterprises. He's not far from me, and in a day I can get stuff, but he does not have these reinforcing plates in stock. because it's really time. I'd like to not have the lift so tied up, waiting for parts to arrive. Could I replace them? Yeah. They broken away. Huh. The things you find when you go under an old antique car. And yes, this is an antique car. So, the things you find. All right. And these are the old bushings. And you can see the cracks and the nastiness. And of course, this one being broken. And the fractured area, the cracked areas have a lot of rust in them. So they were there. They were cracked for a while. I did straighten both of the reinforcing plates. The hardware has been sandblasted and painted and reassembled. And I got to thinking, what is the, if it was just a small bolt, and you can probably see the size of where the washer was, didn't really give what I would say a lot of contact area and reinforcing to this plate from that bolt. So I made these up, and they should provide a lot more surface area against the reinforcing plate to keep it held in place. And the bolts are 7/16 which is fine thread, if anyone's interested. And I thought about changing them to like cap screws, because maybe getting to the inside, the one forward, which is kind of hidden with the body, might be a little better. But that wouldn't be good access for an Allen key in there, even for a ball. And so we're going to go back with the bolts. I did clean up, brushed off all the loose rust up in there, and gave it a coat of rust conversion paint. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Rust encapsulating paint might be the better thing of what's on there. And I painted a little bit around it. And yeah, I started thinking about, well, I should start doing everything. I should start cleaning up this and cleaning up that, and then paint it. And I go, well, this is not a restoration. This is a repair. And in my mind, that's where I have to have it. I have to consider that this, with what I've done, is a repair. And for a full restoration, yes, everything would come off, everything get cleaned up, and you take the body off, you go down to scratch. It's called, where do you stop? If you're just here to do a repair, where do you stop? Mentally, you've got to make that decision. And for me, I'm happy with just treating the area that's there and repairing everything back with new parts and going from there. All right, they're both in. And you'll see that the flats are horizontal on this side, and the flats on this side are vertical. So, did that to try to see if there's a difference in helping to get in there with the flat in the front to get a little bit more room. Positive and negatives. If you ever have to get a hold of this version with the verticals, it's harder to get anything on them to hold it in place, because it says you could use a 52 millimeter wrench. I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. It's just memory right now. On those two flats to hold that disc in place while you undo the nut. So it's easier to come in horizontally to grab it, even with a pair of channel locks if you had to, or makeup. Take a piece of steel, cut a slot, and slide it in there. Either way. This is easier if you had to get it off later and there's a problem. The other way is different. Okay, some methods to the madness of getting that front bolt in. And it is difficult. It is very difficult. You almost have to stick the bolt, we'll say, in that and try to get it in there to hold it in place. Because if you try to get it in after you set that in the hole, it's a little long to get in on that angle. You almost has to go in with it. It's going to be a struggle, just to give you a... So getting the first threads started is the issue. What I ended up doing that worked for me, it may not work for you, but you can come up with a better way, but I'll give you some hints as to how I did this. I used an awl to hold the bolt head against the hole, against the threads. Sorry, I got to do this with one hand here. And then you've got to go in on an angle like this to try to start getting the first few threads done. And that's about all you're going to be able to do for a while, is to get, and that's also in taking it out, but is that angle with just a little bit of movement. I ended up, after you get it in far enough, I ended up thinning a wrench down, and it does get in there. But what I'm going to say is that you're going to get that much turn, and then you're going to get that much turn again, and that's all you're going to get through the whole thing, is that small amount of turn. That's all you're going to get, and it's going to be a long process. Your hands and your arms are going to hurt if you're not used to being up under the car like that. Much easier on a lift than it is up on jack stands. I can't imagine if it was up on jack stands and I was trying to get under there, laying down, trying to get it. So, and let me go back and we'll do one more advice. Okay, one more thing. If you took the arms off, you would have a lot more room to work here. Now, if you unbolted them, took them off, took that whole section out, you would have a lot more room. I just basically dropped them, kicked them underneath in order to get them somewhat out of the way, but it's a pain in the beep to work around them. But it can be done. But if you get them out, it can be better. Yeah, see the dents. I know. Hey, what the previous owner did, the first owner and the mechanics from hell that got got his hands on this car. Well, we're doing the best we can with what they left us. And so far, after all these years, things are doing really well on it. So, I will put some anti-seize around the post up there to put these on, just so it doesn't rust in place again, and button it all back up and do the shims. The right trailing arm is on. Yeah, getting it back on the stud, yeah, that was rough. And I'm gonna have to say that in order to get it back on, I had to take it loose from the lower link. It was the only way to get the arm, the trailing arm, to move enough and to rotate enough in the right position to get it on the stud without screwing the threads of the stud up. That's the best way I'll describe it. So, for me, yeah, I took that off. I had to put it back together. Probably would have been better when I took it apart to have done that. You live and learn. Yep. I'm going to call this the end of episode 1, because I'll finish this up, get the other side done, and then when I go to drop the differential to change out the wheel cylinders and take care of the brakes, I will make that episode 2. So I'm going to end this. Thanks for watching. Just getting done what you have to get done on the car. Good luck if you've got to do it yourself. If no one's ever done it, I know that there are people out there who have done a lot more on these cars than I have, and are far more of experts on them than I could hope to be. Hey Tim, just a shout out. All right. Have a good day. Thanks for watching, and like it if you can. Thanks.